No, Mama, Lamb, Boy, Jumble, Young Lion, John's Oil, Angel, Lord, Jenny, Gender, Yether, not the Jenny, Dengue, Jijin, Zijin, Yijin, Gondos, General, and Don, Jezebel. Gozo Ganla Bujin Tanze Yanla Juje Yande Ludra Chedo Nyemo Nyeno Leje Jado Joze Ware Menze Dongaenyu Jinye Jenze Raje Dene Dajin Saje Taze Yenden Dezo Jaze Dove Judan, Judan, Junye, Jiji, Dale, Menze, Jambi, Yama, and Maramadana, Dev, 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 Marabazana Deo 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 Marabazana O Marabazana Zedin Jeje Chera Zenje Dalen Demon Barasa Kadan Denje Shonla Domai Loje Bobye Nawa Sandus Zonin Jencho Nanjin Dai Shon, Kari Jin Bungo, and then Junga Shazado, Bibin Anjuba, Chime Vezra Jendai Shon, Don Jambashin, Jinale, and Bombilon, Bobi, the General, Dojin, the Manju, Megam Jambi and Jendai Shon, Bongidala, Revolvadan, Dojin Jimano, Azo, the Vazada, Ungrishinabe. Meju Jinjen Amen Dai Shon Namunguru Jinjin Pamin the Jeju Zala Kunjaran Jundu Jijin Bijin Dijikala Amen Danawa Paden Lamin Janje Dai Shon Yende Sanji Kunda Yunaya Tadin Sanji Kunela Bigwen So Lamin Jura Swande Azundu Elamna Chela Anjur Kunda Jiju Dongi Jidena Ande Jela Manjur Bakansa Dan Yende Lambi Jinjan Bebe Symbol Deva Dada Dejeje Namaya Namba Laike Dala Dani Jinge Nduvanda Dame Genam Down Dua Kunje Ganam Jizamba Tamje Gedu Sosur Tejurje Majurnam Gita Nanyam Besim Jen Tamje Namru Deni Deva Nana Bayam Dabuzo Bisanji Jimbuan Bachin Chine Jan Kubrasha Echedu Teba Jimbe Shonro, Jaze Jimbo Shivalha, the Indian Zebe, Shon Chimbo Chanju Zebe, Jebala Jubat, and Yitsushin Seni, Yamsolo and Joan. Samba Chanju Chodo, Sini Jebat and Chip the sense hall. So, listen this Dharma teaching with the great intention of Bodhicharayavatara, that generating in this way, that for the sake of motherly sentient beings, in order to lead them to liberation and complete enlightenment, for that purpose, I'm going to listen in this Mahayana scripture composed by Shantideva called The Way of Bodhisattva's Life. And then I'll try my best to put it into practice And with this intention, and then the manner or the conduct while listening to Dharma teaching, that listen carefully in an excellent way, and then try to hold it. And with this, now we prepare to study these scriptures. And then, now the actual scripture itself, the way of Bodhisattva's life, has this 10 chapter with the 4 main themes. And then among this 4 themes, the first one, which is guiding how to receive this Bodhisattvas. And then now, after we receive this Bodhisattva's vow, and how to maintain or how to not let it transgress, and to maintain or how to not let it transgress. And this is the second theme among these 4. And then today we are here in the second theme. And for that purpose, and then what we really need is mainly that kind of like a core one. What we need is the sense of carefulness, and then the mindfulness and introspection, and then patience. So these are the 3. Mainly, these are the 3. The 3 chapters, 4, 5, 6. Each chapter, their core theme is to raise this carefulness, sense of carefulness, and then to have a mindfulness and the introspection, and then patience. Through this core point that can help us to not to let transgress that what we received so far is Bodhisattva's vow. So as I always say, now these teachings we have to listen based on this assumption that now we completely receive Bodhisattva's vow. And then the listener, or the kind of like the person who is studying this kind of like has to have kind of willing to learn, study about Mahayana path, and then how to practice it. And with that base, and then if you listen all this, you get advice, guidance, then it makes more sense. So that anyhow, so these are the second theme is to how to not transgress the Bodhisattva's vow. And in order not to transgress Bodhisattva's vow, and then core point is these 3 things we needed: the sense of carefulness and mindfulness and the vigilant or introspection, and then the patience. So these 3 things. So among these 3 things, and then each chapter and kind of like explaining detail that why we need carefulness and how to generate sense of carefulness within oneself, and why we need mindfulness and introspection, and how to have the introspection and mindfulness, and why we need patience and how to practice patience. All this detail, each chapter is describing detail in its own chapters. So among this, so we are in the middle. This one, that the chapter 5th, which the core is kind of like a theme is to say why and how to have it, this introspection and mindfulness. And then this, based on this the mindfulness and introspection, then one needs to engage into this kind of like a discipline. That this Mahayana discipline, there are kind of like a 3 steps or 3 levels or 3 stages. That first, that the discipline of refraining the wrongdoing. and how to do it. That we completed. And then the second one is the discipline, the discipline of gathering virtue. Discipline of gathering virtue. So the discipline of gathering virtue, and then we are here in this second one, that how one can engage into the discipline of gathering virtue. So for that purpose, and then Shantidevas began with this, what is the really core biggest condition, the most biggest condition which prevent us to engage into this discipline of gathering virtue, is that if we have this sense of importance in our own this body, then that really becomes greatest condition for us to engage into this second stages of discipline, which is gathering virtues. So for that purpose, we need to reduce that, and we need to get rid of this one. But at the same time, Shantideva also guiding but at the same time, you also need to make sure that you are in the middle way, balance. That get rid of this sense of importance to your body does not mean that you should careless yourself, and you should ignore, and you should not even take care tiny bit to your this body. No, that you need to take care of your body in this way. So that yesterday we studied that in short, that what he really said is this. So pay this body due remunerations, and then be sure to make it work for you. That's the main point, that how you should care your body. Pay to this body due remunerations. That's how to do this. What does it really means? That we talked yesterday so long, that this, as I told you earlier, this body, yes, definitely needed these three things in order to secure, save, protect this body, and in order to practice, we need that this body. This body is like a boat, and which can help this boss mind to cross this river or cross this ocean, or we can say like cross this samsara. That this body is very much needed to this mind, and then this body, therefore, in order to cross, the ultimate is in order to cross this samsara, in order to achieve enlightenment, this body is also very much needed. But that we need to understand what really it needed or not. So that's what we discussed yesterday very long, that yes, definitely needed these three things, that food, clothes, and shelter. But from there, we are making so much excuse, and we are slipping from there. And that now we need to be a little cautious. That's what Shantideva was trying to making balance here, that you don't need to be so careful, and you don't need to be so careless either. And you need to come to the middle way, the kind of like a balance. So take care of this your body, because you needed this body in order to cross this samsara. But don't spend so much time and so much energy to protect this body. If you do that, then it becomes biggest problem for you to engage into this in a very directly to engage into this discipline of gathering virtue, indirectly to practice the way of Bodhisattva's life, again in order to maintain this Bodhisattva's vow. It really disturbs to transgress this Bodhisattva's vow as well. So there's many reasons behind there why that we need to reduce and try to eliminate the sense of sense that importantness to our own this body so much. That is kind of like something not good. That's how she is suggesting. So we should reduce that. And then now, after all this understanding, then this stanza, the next, from this stanza now to stanza number 83 is Shantideva really, what it's really showing is the, after understand all this, then how to be a skillful, to not transgress Bodhisattva's vow, and how to be skillful to maintain this Bodhisattva's vow, which we receive within oneself. How to maintain this in a skillful way. So that now, how can I say now? From here, Shantideva was providing many different skills to kind of like protect this Bodhisattva's vow. Mainly, this is all purpose is to protect this Bodhisattva's vow. That we need to understand. So therefore, mainly that we shouldn't give up this intention and this willingness, no matter what, regardless, whatever conditions, that I'm never ever going to give up benefiting others and then trying to lead them to complete stage of enlightenment. That sense. So this is all skills, is main purpose is to maintain that one within oneself. So that, keep that point in our mind and then try to practice all these skills. And even these skills are kind of like a very specific. Yes, definitely it is sometimes it is very challenging and difficult with our society, and to fit in this society and to fit in this kind of like a mundane world, that while we are kind of like a how to say, living in this mundane world, and some of these skills are challenged to fit in, definitely. But however, that's why I'm telling you the point of all these skills, even though this point very thoroughly one may not able to practice, but all of these skills purpose, the main core purpose, that we shouldn't lose, we shouldn't forget. That's what I just told you right now. The main thing is to, regardless, the unconditionally, or kind of like no matter what, never ever, the sense of never ever giving up the bodhisattva, which means that willing to benefit others and willing to lead them to complete enlightenment. Any kind of beings, not just human, any kind of beings. And within a human, that kind of like regardless of racist. So that kind of, the deep in our mind, that we try to hold that and we try to protect that intention. That's the key point here. This all skills Shantideva was guiding, so one can try to maintain this mind. So this is the main purpose. So with this understanding, and listen this advice. So how it is advising from here now? From this page, the stanza number 71. So 71 to 83. So he's guiding many different skills to maintain this, how to maintain this. And how it beginning here. Tetar Ramon Yukite Tadu Zumbi Shinduji. Tonyer Mosum Yongtonde Droishetan Somburji. So that's this, within this stanza, kind of like a showing, we can say one skill to maintain that. That first, this stanza, the first line, what it is saying, that stanza 71. Be the master of yourself. You see, now the be the master of yourself. What? That's how he guided before. How to reduce sense of importantness to this body, and how to utilize this body, and how to protect this body. Master it. Be the master of yourself to how to reduce that sense of importantness with this body, and how to take care of this body, and how to utilize and how to transform this body into the wish-fulfilled gene for others. He taught it until now. So this is what he's talking about now. Be the master of yourself. And as well as these all skills, also he is suggesting that be master of yourself, if one can able to. So the main point I already told you, the main purpose is to not to lose that one. That we must keep in deep in our mind, regardless. So need to understand all this skill is to showing because of this. And then try to listen this and try to practice this. And then be the master of yourself, that whatever he guided so far, and then also that whatever he is going to guide it, and be the master of yourself, that we can understand in this way. And then the more that this is all talking, which means that whatever he taught so far, be a master with it. That's what it means. Directly, this is what it means. That be the master of yourself. And then try to apply these skills to maintain that, to not to transgress that. And then have an ever smiling countenance. Rid yourself of scowling, wrathful fawns, and be a true and honest friend to all. Or be a true, this translation is be a true, or actually this in Tibetan here, this yes, honest is there, but be that instead of true, I think it should be translated into this way, and be a kind or help or support, and then and honest to all of your friends, or to kind of like a, actually this is here, this is kind of little, the friend is little little biased word. Actually in Tibetan there's a no friend. Tibetan saying being. Be kind and support and honest to being. That's what it means. Shantideva is saying that, not just friends. But in a one way we can say, being a bodhisattva, there's a no enemy. So maybe all are friends. You can use that maybe. But in a normal way, when we say friend, then it is the friend, word itself is little biased, isn't it? Friend. So be kind or supportive or honest towards your friends, not including enemy. Right? So in this Tibetan word, what Shantideva really said, be kind and supportive and honest to beings. So not only friends. Friend is there, yes. Friends are being, and enemies are also being. That can include kind of like a greater, bigger, vaster. So this translates and maybe just friend. And in a one way that I told you, we can describe what does it mean friend. Because of being a Bodhisattva's Mahayana practitioner, being a Bodhisattva, there's no enemy. So everybody is friends. You may explain in this way. But if we just use without explaining this way, just saying friend, then enemies are not included. Or maybe also these neutral persons are not included, which are not your enemy, not your friend. There are many beings, right? Friend is actually very less, actually. Each and every individual, very less friend. And then neutral person is countless. Friends, maybe we can count how many friends I have. Maybe I have 10 friends, 20 friends, 100 friends. But the neutral, I have billions people, billions human. And then not just now this also this all animals, kind of like almost every animal is neutral, not really friend. So in this way, anyhow, so that friend, this word friend, instead of here friend, they just using being. I think it's more proper because in a Tibetan word, it has being instead of friend. There's no friend. But as I said earlier, if somebody can explain why it used friend in here, then this is a little bit taking extra time. So why don't we just use being? So it's finished, complete. Instead of that. Anyhow, so this is now one method that Shantideva was showing, that have an ever smiling countenance. Yeah, countenance, the face, right? Be a always smile and be a nice face to everyone. And then rid yourself of scolding, wrathful forms. You see? Now these are, I told you earlier, these are the skills to not to, okay, these aspirations, smiling and not being scolding, wrathful forms, and be kind and supportive to others and be honest to others. Yes, definitely. Being in this way, it definitely can help us to not transgress this our bodhisattva. Wow, isn't it? Now it's related with this, isn't it? These skills. But as I told you earlier, this each and every skill to fit in this society, in this mundane world, it's challenge. Definitely, it is challenge. Even I think sometimes just being always ever smiling countenance is challenge, isn't it? And then on top of that, ridding of ourselves, scolding and wrathful forms. Wrathful forms? From? Frowns. Okay. Frowns. Like that? Okay. Frowns. Being like this, right? Yeah. So these are, I told you earlier, these are Shantideva guiding very detailed skills. Okay? So the main purpose is to not to lose that. As long as you are not losing that, and whether one can really apply or not, still maintain that. Top of that, being able to apply all this skill, wonderful. It becomes wonderful. It becomes like kind of good becomes better, right? It is just like that. Good becomes better. So now both your mind and your physical is moving towards one shoe, in a one shoe, isn't it? One shoe or in a one direction, right? So, but the main is the mind that we need to protect. And then the physical, if we are able to do all these things, great. Even if you are not able to do, but make sure this is not moving. This is not about this, right? Making a steady, right? Steady? Steady. Making steady this mind. And top of that, additional, if you try to apply all this skill, then it becomes like a good, becomes better now. Because now our inner and outer aspiration both in the same direction, in a moving in the same direction, moving in a kind of like a, how can I say it? Now one, it becomes one. Our physical act and mental act becomes one. And that's how this our ultimate, yes, actually our ultimate goal is like that. Shakyamuni Buddha, okay, for instance, Shakyamuni Buddha, that this two is became one. He made it this two one. He made it this his habit, and he's made it all these skills also his habit too. Not just he made it mind habit, but also he made it all this skill his own habit, kind of like a natural, is natural. So that's the okay. That's why anyhow. So you need to listen this to not lose that. And top of that, if oneself considering a Mahayana practitioner, then we must try to apply these skills as well. This is because this, therefore, this from here, it is the meaning of from here, stanza number 71 to 83 is to how to say, understand those skillfuls to maintain this mind. Okay, skillfuls. And this is one skill that Shantideva guiding. So be smiling, ever smiling countenance, rid yourself of scowling, wrathful forms, and be a true. This is true. And instead of true, I told you, kind or supportive. Has to be like that. Because in Tibetan word, she means kind of like a care, kind, being kind, support. Doi sheda, songburgi. Songbu means honest. Yes, that's clear. Honest. Be honest all the time. That's the one skill to maintain this mind. And then also, and then tila soba papjoldu dadan chebar midoro goyam tadu miede tadu chongyung gawar shas. Here now, this is all very thorough detail that he's saying. Do not acting inconsiderately move chairs and furnitures so noisily around. See? Now sometimes we may feel, oh, what's this? What's wrong with this? As I told you earlier, main purpose is that. And this, the careless acting could become unnoticedly, could become conditioned to lose that sense. You see? Unnoticedly, right? Unnoticing, unnoticedly or unnoticing, how to say?
Unnoticeably.
Unnoticeably. Oh, unnoticeably. Yes. Unnoticeably could become this condition to lose this sense of mind, to willing to benefit others. See, that's why. Otherwise, why he's telling me this? This is actually, on the other hand, this is very mundane advice. Our parents give this advice, isn't it? Don't move your chair here and there so noisily. Put it very gently. Our parents got that. This kind of guidance, no need Shantideva to tell me. My parent is enough to tell me. But my parent doesn't have this intention to telling me all this. You see, reason is different now. Why Shantideva telling all this? Behind the purpose, reason is completely different. My parent telling me to not do all these things, to prevent the friends are saying something. or breaking your chair, right? Breaking furniture, or parent needs to take care of the things in a house. So therefore, the parent doesn't want to damage wall, damage table, damage furniture, damage chair, and plus parent doesn't want that other, especially when we have a guest. And then parent really doesn't want their own friends or guests to see their child behave like this. So purpose is completely now. Advice is same. Parent also saying, oh, don't move this chair here and there so noisily. And then what is that? Oh, do not acting inconsiderately. The parents also said that. But the main point is different. Why it's saying. Likewise, do not open door with the violence. That also parents. Our parent already told us when we are a child. Don't bang the door, right? Don't bang the door. And for that now, also on the side, I just want to tell you this one too, because many of the great masters also they say, don't bang the door and don't bang the windows and so on this, because these kind of like that there is 18 different beings of hell, and those 8 heat and cold 16 plus Nikor the 17, they have some sort of like a, however, in a one way of explaining, these 17 different hells beings, they have their own spot, kind of like a location. The 18th one, that being doesn't have its special location. That type of being will going to be anywhere around, even within this world with the humans. And many great masters advising, most of them just stay beside the door, windows, where there is a space. They just try to fit in there. Just like some of the spiders and some of those insects, right? Normally they try to hide behind the doors and windows where there's a little space. They try to go into there and just stay there. Then banging door, sometimes when they come out, if you bang, that's animal. Likewise, animal that which we can perceive. Likewise, those hell beings that which we cannot perceive by this naked eye. And those also could become like those spiders and insects flapping between the door. That's additional advice, okay? Shantideva didn't say here this one. Shantideva, he just say, don't bang the door. That's it. He didn't mention much reason. Where is it? Likewise, do not open door with the violence. Do not open door. Yeah, open. No, here, open. Not banking. Here, word doesn't have banking. It's open. Don't open like boom. Anyway, so close is also including same way. Don't bang the door anyway. Either you opening or closing, don't bang. That's it. And then, Tao Chung Chung Gawar Shas, take pleasure in the practice of humility. What does it mean? Humble, yeah. Good. That's exactly. Chomjung means that, humble. Constantly or every time be a humble and be, constantly and every time like to be a humble. That's what he means. Like to be. You must like. You like to be humble. This like is not just like pretend, okay? It's really saying you love to be. You love yourself to be humble. With this all behave, with this all conduct. And then now here, the way Shantideva explaining why, what's the benefit of doing that? Then he's using this very strange example now here. This is next stanza 73 is now he's showing the benefit of being humble and all those benefit of being kind of like a do not opening doors with the violence and move chairs and furniture so noisily around and do not acting inconsiderately and ever smiling countenance, rid yourself of scolding wrathful forms, and then be true, be kind or supportive and honest to all beings. He said he showed many different skills, right? And then now the way he's guiding here, the purpose of this benefit, that this is Sanjay is showing the benefit now. Listen here. Why? Because 추결, 지라, 총근다, 잠에 잡진 로아이, 몸버드비 던두바, 투베다도 대신제. You see? Herons, cats, and burglars. Burglars. So he's using these three examples. You see? Herons, cat, and burglars. This burglars, when I find in the dictionary, it is specifically the thief who try to thief in a midnight, isn't it? Night time. That's not really here, actually, in Tibetan. But in Tibetan word, it is just saying thief, not specific burglar. But here, burglar, yes, maybe a little bit. It gives the more understand, I think. But however, normally thieves, they being very gentle and smart, right? They don't do like robbers. Robbers are a little bit careless. Robbers and thieves are two different things, right? In Tibetan, we also have this different name. People who are careless robbing, we call chapa, not kuma. Kunma, chapa, two different things. Kunma means who is being very skillful and letting not to notice everybody and try to take it very quiet way. That's kuma. That's kind of like kuma, in Tibetan word kuma. And chapa. Chapa means I don't care. Whoever see or not see, doesn't matter. That type of action called chapa. You see? Anyhow, so here, Shantideva here, this is very funny here that he using this example. Herons, I don't know, herons are like that? Yeah. Herons are like that? Yeah. Okay. Cats are like that, yes, I know. Cats are like that. When they want to catch the mice, or when they want to catch some birds, they move very gently. They hide, they try to disappear their body in a grass or in a tree or whatsoever, and very gently move. And then when they think now they can catch, then they jump, and then they get it whatever they want, right? So like that. Now here, herons, cats, and burglars achieve what they intend. See, achieve what they intend by going silently and unobserved. Such is the constant practice of sage. The sage, or here I think the in this Tibet English they translated the sage from Tuba here in this Tuba, right? Tube. Tuba is kind of like a using the example like Shakyamuni Buddha. Shakyamuni Buddha constantly he does his job in this way. Very quiet, silently, but he achieved what he really intended. Like herons, cat, and burglars. Burglars or thief. Same. I think here they use burglars. Burglars. That word even I don't know. That's nice word, right? Burglars. Burglars. Okay. Burglars. So that's the benefit of doing all this, applying all this skillful methods above what he showed. Okay. And then also, now, top of that, he also showing another skills, methods to maintain this Bodhisattva's vow is Shenla Shinkul Debkeshi, Machol Pember shaping up, Kube Chu Wangite, Taudu Bingi Lomar Gurus. When useful admonitions come unsought, right? Unsought, kind of like a without finding, right? Without seeking, right? Unsought. Admonition is kind of like an advice, right? Suggestion, advice.
A bit of scolding.
Huh?
A little bit of scolding.
Little bit of scolding. Okay. So, yeah, in Tibetan, this not a scold at all here. Shenma Shinkul. Shinkul means request or kind of like a giving advice. In Tibetan we call kata kata. Kata means kind of like a katachi means how can I say it now? Labjagya. Giving advice and requesting others to do it when some sort of like a, for example, that I'm asking them to translate like that. Katachiba. Suggest or request, right? So it is not the admonition.
No, admonishment means being told off.
Huh?
Being told off.
Being told off.
Yeah.
What is told off?
If I do something wrong and you tell me, don't do that.
Oh, in a little bit, in a strong way.
Small way.
Small, but still it's good way, right? In a good way?
No, it's good or not bad. It's just if I do something wrong, you tell me, don't do that.
Don't do that. Okay, yeah, that's then fine. Then fine. That's exactly. Scolding, then I don't know. But scolding could be fine too. If somebody saying scolding in a good way, that's okay too. I think either way works in a neutral way or in a scolding way. It and the admonitions. When useful, here it's saying useful. Yeah, that's understand, right? When useful admonitions come unsought from those with skill in counseling their fellows. Machul member shaping up. from those with skill in counseling their fellows. Yeah, okay, useful is enough here. The mature membership knots. Shema Shingul dedications. That caching actually here it is missing. Oh yeah. Oh, the skill is there. Yeah. Okay, none of that is missing. From those with the skill in counseling their fellows. Yeah. And then welcome them with the humble gratitude and always strive to learn from everyone. You see? Now this is also skillful to not to lose. Now this actually in mundane, in this worldly way, we have very big problem. Believe me, this one. For instance, within a parents actually also that sometimes our parent made mistake. And then when children telling to their parent, like mother or father, whoever, oh, mom, you did this is wrong, you shouldn't. Then mom become very bonnet. Instead of welcome them with the humble gratitude and always strive to learn from everyone. Here now this. Everyone here, not excluding anybody. As long as when useful admonition comes unsought, here, Shanideva made it this very clear. From those with the skill in counseling their fellows. Welcome them with the humble gratitude and always strive to learn from everyone. Now this is, I told you, this problem is so often, almost every day we can say this problem is there. One thing is because of pride. And then that pride, as I told you, pride is very hidden emotion actually. Very hidden emotion. Even this is so useful. Sometimes we normally do, sometimes even you understand this is something useful admonitions. But because of faith, we have this faith to protect. We will not going to listen. We will not going to welcome them. Isn't it? This is happening quite often. As I told you earlier, to parent, for instance, sometimes, parent could make mistake. Why not? Parents are not perfect yet, not Buddha yet, not enlightened yet, right? Parent could make mistake. And when parent make mistake, if the admonitions comes from their children, then 100% most of the time parent will not going to accept. Either parent will going to say, quiet, you don't know nothing. You're a baby right now, quiet. Right? That's happening a lot. And this example very obvious. And likewise from our friend. And likewise within a friend, some kind of like a mature, unmature child say something useful, then those adult, mature, slight, ignore, instead of welcoming. No welcome. Even it's good if they just ignore. Very good if they do that. Most of the time, not just ignore, but saying something opposite back to stop them to saying these things. We get mad and sad and angry. And then we will going to respond in this way. Instead of welcoming them, we will going to respond. What do you know? Who are you saying this to me? Go away. Right? Isn't it? Now these words. Go away. Who are you telling me this? What do you know? There are many words we use. So these are now Shantideva was really saying, regardless all this, and whoever saying this, either child or old or adult or boy or girl or parent or son, daughter or different races, whatsoever, as long as something useful admonition and try to welcome them. If we are able to do this, if we are able to apply this skill, yes, this skill really helps to maintain that mind. Yes. Isn't it? Isn't it very could becomes conditions, these things, these skills. For instance, we analyze ourselves. When I reject, let's say for example, my nephew giving some useful admonitions to me, and then even though it is truth, I know it is true, but person who is telling me is kid. So I don't want to listen. I don't want to accept. I don't want to welcome this. I don't want to step on his suggestion. Right? And then instead of welcoming, I will say something opposite. And I get mad. And I get angry. And then I'm saying, who are you telling me this? You are a kid. You don't know nothing. Quiet. You see, at that moment, isn't it? I'm losing this my sense. Willing to benefit to him. Now, these are all behind this reason now. If I am not losing this, maybe this is okay. Maybe okay. I'm not losing this one. But responding in this way, rather than welcoming, could really become unnoticeably, is it shown? Unnoticeably losing this Bodhicharayavatara. Yeah, so that constantly try to be a fellow or the disciple of anyone who is saying useful admonitions. That's what he meant. May I become follower or may I become disciple of whoever giving a useful admonitions. As I told you earlier, these skills are so kind of like difficult to apply in this world and especially these societies. Yes. That's why I told you, even though we are not being able to these things, but we shouldn't lose the point. Why Shantideva was giving all this skill? For what purpose? For what to maintain? For what to not transgress? That we need to keep mainly. And then lekpar meba thamche la gewar sungshe jebar shas. Sonam cheba thongyuna tebe lekpar gawar case. And also there's another skills now. And this is also something very difficult too in our day-to-day life, which is something here. Praise all whose speech is worthy. See now, regardless, this is not saying, oh, you don't need to praise to your son's advice, your son's useful admonitions, right? Speech is worthy as long as anybody's, including one's enemy, if the speech is worthy, truth, honest, beneficial, then praise them. They're telling truth. They're being honest. They're kind of like saying something beneficial, regardless. Here. Now, Shantideva was not excluding anybody. And during this time, during his time also, that when we reflect on his own history, Nalendra, many other monks are teasing to him, yes, because he is being very lazy outlook, right? He's doing nothing. He's just staying in a room and just coming out and eat and go back to the room, doing nothing. That's how they try to kick him out from Nalanda. That's why they let him teach this Bodhicharayavatara. Actually, this Bodhicharayavatara, how it comes, it's not good reason behind. This Bodhicharayavatara come out because those Nalanda monks wants to kick him out from Nalanda. Because he's doing nothing there. He's very useless in there at that moment. And later they regret, it's too late, he went. And then he said, bye-bye. And then he never returned, unfortunately. They really wants to kick him out by the time that they asked him to teach this. And then yes, at that time, Shantideva may get all this kind of many different scored admonitions. Not necessarily useful admonition. He got just admonition now. But still, he took it all this. He took it all this. And then finally, he agreed, he accepted, okay, I will do it. And then he taught this way of Buddha's life. Anyhow, so here, praise all whose speech is worthy, say your words are excellent. Now this is, are we able to say your words are excellent all the time when they speak some worthy, when they give some speech worthy? All the time is difficult, right? Sometimes it's easy, but all the time, no. And when you notice others acting well, encourage them to be like let them feel joy, let them feel happy when some other doing some meritorious activity, When you see somebody doing meritorious activity, and then praise them and make them warm approval, make them happy, make them joy. Now, this is something kind of like this is actually, I think, needed, especially in this kind of center. Everywhere, this kind of center. Within a practitioner, I always saying that we practice, even this morning, we practice 7 branches often, right? If one of the 7 branches is rejoicing others' merit, right? So here, I always say, when you rejoice others' merit, don't just look so far. You don't have to go so far. You can start right from this house. Who are beside you doing same prostration, doing same invocation, doing same offering, doing same aspirations, doing same dedications, doing same confessions, doing same requesting to turn the wheel of Dharma, doing same Guru Yoga, doing same Vajrasattva practice, doing same Mandala practice. Here. Instead of thinking so many histories, just be present. What they're doing, rejoice after them. Instead of thinking, oh, in a past, such and such he did that. The unnecessary concept that we generated. It is not saying that we will not, because we have this habit that pulls, and especially those conditions, triggers to generate this thought concept. But we have to try to press down that concept, suppress that concept, and try to be in a present and try to follow the instructions right at this moment where I should follow, rather than thinking about others. You just take care of yourself. You just judge yourself. That's why I always say, right? Rather than judging others, judge yourself always. Look yourself always. This is our Let Holiness always give us this advice. This is very useful in a many different ways. Analyzing oneself is the method to improve oneself. Itself is a method. Don't think that this is bothering, this is something making more emotion and like that. No, itself is the method. Just like that, somehow this Shantideva, before he gave, right, be a piece of wood. Itself is antidote. But we are unable to understand itself is antidote. Itself is method. So you see this now, another 2 lines. That when you see someone else engaging into meritorious activity and praise them and give a warm approval, right? What do you say? Encourage them in a terms of warm approval. Warm approval may be same understanding here. Let them feel joy. Let them feel happy. Praise them. Your praise can become condition for them to feel joy. You see, doing this Don't think that, oh, it's only benefiting him or her. No, it's also benefiting yourself. When you're able to apply this skill, and this also protect this bodhicitta, this also protect this bodhisattva's vow. This also not to let transgress your this bodhisattva's vow as well. That's why now the Mahayana path, this way of bodhisattvas, these methods are very skillful. That's why it is called win-win situation. It is win-win situation. It will let other win. It will let yourself win too. But this is something I'm thinking, yes. Not only this center, every center, especially where gathering the practitioner. Within practitioner, we have this problem. This is very obvious, whether we say it or not. Now today is the time to say it, because this is scripture kind of like reminding us this. And this is right time to speak, I think, now. Since this Shantideva speak up this topic. This is quite happening, I know too, and many of you know too. Many inner centers, especially there were a lot of practitioner gathers. Instead of we are rejoicing each other, we're jealousing each other. And when someone get little advanced, then we burn our heart. Oh, he get more advanced teaching than me. See, now this is exactly opposing here. When you burn your mind with this, and then, yes, where your bodhicitta now? Definitely. It burns your bodhicitta together. This is itself is fire. There's no necessarily need to material fire. This is itself is fire which burns this bodhicitta, which we have within our mind. This jealous now, jealous. Jealous, this is the one biggest problem in many centers, many Dharma centers. And also, sometimes when we somebody takes some responsibility, then others get jealous. That's happening too. Many situations, okay? That's how we need to check ourselves, analyze, rather than looking out. We need to use the mirror to look one's own face, rather than looking others' face. Why I am here to practice Dharma. So is this practicing Dharma? Generating jealous, is this the practicing Dharma or no? That one must look in this way. It is not saying something that, oh, we understand this, we can immediately apply. No. This is to, as I told you already, all the Dharma practice is ending up with the 3 steps. First stage is to understand. Understand does not mean you are not there you didn't change anything. You just understand. That's the mistake. That's it. And then experience it. And then realize it. But it is very important to understand. By the time you understand, You don't have to expect that, okay, now I should completely 100% remove. No, don't expect that. Because we built it so strong habit. So therefore, it takes time, definitely. But in order to reduce and suppressed, and then to get rid of, never going to happen without suppress, without reduce. No way. Unless you are so over fortunate, like a king Indrabodhi. And person like him is very rare. Once in a million, maybe. So therefore, without reducing, without suppressing, getting rid of it's impossible. So to reduce or to suppress, we need to remind these skills again and again. We need to reflect on these skills again and again in a very gentle. I'm also saying, don't force yourself to practice this. No, don't push yourself. Don't force yourself to apply this skill. Definitely, it takes time. And then the time also say, somebody is strange, also asking this very strange question, how long it takes time? 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, 1 month. That's very tricky question. And then we need to give very tricky answers. And then when we give this answer, they feel this is tricky answer. This is not the right answer. But actually it is right answer. There's no other answers than this, which is depend on individual. Yes, it is very depend on individual. No one knows how strong habit you already built it that. If you built it this habit very strong, it might take life to get rid of this. If this habit is built not so strong, then it might can go within a year, within a 2 year, within a 3 year. It might go. That's the training. That's the Dharma practice now. That's how we are trying to practice, engage every day into Dharma, so we can suppress those emotions. We can suppress and we can reduce, and eventually we can get rid of. So this is another challenge, skill that method which Shantideva was showing here, not to transgress this Bodhisattva's vow. And this really works, yes. Remind, now here, remember this meaning of this stanza. And to remember this stanza, meaning of this stanza, it's might better memorize this stanza. Then especially when we gathered like this and read this stanza and to reflect on it. These practices are very much needed, actually. Kind of like an immediate needed. And then Kong na yönden jö jashin, yönden jö na jesu jö. Rangi yönden jö na te, yönden sheba rikbar chas. There's another skill now. Extol their qualities discreetly, is it? Discreetly? Discreetly is kind of like a very skillful way of saying. That means discreetly. Not openly, publicly. Okay, okay. Not obvious.
Right.
In kind of like a very little bit in a hidden. But you need to say it
Wisely.
wisely. But you need to extol them, extol their qualities with that discreetly. Is it? Yeah, that's right. Gona and then judging. When they are praised by others, you praise them too. Praise them too. And then Jena, Jesuju. Okay, so if nobody is saying anything, then you need to say it, their quality, in a discreet way. If anybody is saying it, then together, you go together and say it. Kind of like waiting the opportunity, right? If there's no opportunity, you just say, very quiet, oh, you're great. If someone speak, oh, you are great, and then, oh, yes, you are great. Oh, yes, you are a good person. Oh, yes, you are good. You have a good intelligence. Oh, you have a good marriage. Oh, you have a, how to say, very well studied. Like that. And then, but when the qualities they please are yours, at that time now, you see, that time we lose our temper. Then we generate pride. Now, in this time, what Shantideva was saying, look here. At that time, what you need to do is reflect upon their skill in recognizing qualities. See? He have this very skillful to protect his bodhisattva. When somebody is praising him, and instead of he's reflecting on his own quality, he's just reflecting back to his quality, their quality. Oh, how they have this very intelligent to recognize this quality. Yeah, many people don't recognize. Yes. People who praise you, yes, they recognize that, right? That's truth. They recognize, therefore they're praising. So you just reflect on their intelligence of recognizing this quality rather than you feeling pride. How very, this is again win-win situation, isn't it? You win, you got praise from them. And you let other people make happy too by showing very nice face and then responding very good way back. You see, but as I told you earlier, these skills are so kind of like how can I say? Uh, these skills or the methods are very, I forgot this vocabulary word now. Very disappearing that vocabulary from my mind. Very rational. I don't really want to say that. I just want to say something else. It is rational, yes. It is rational, but not just rational. These skills and methods are very
It's subtle and exact.
Hmm?
It's subtle and exact.
subtle
And exact.
but exact. Kind of like that. There's a one word. Now I don't, it's not popping up in my mind. Now forget it.
Practical?
Hmm?
What, practical?
Practical. Yeah, practical too. Practical. Yeah, I think so. Practical too. I think rather than that, there's a one word, another word. Maybe I have to create this new word. Shasmas Shari. Oh yeah, that's the word I created now. To understand. Just watchfully. Just teasing. Anyway, so and then she Shas. This skills. Now here he showed many different skills. How wonderful these skills are, to maintain this, to transgress this bodhisattvas. Wow. To not lose this willingness to benefiting others. If we are able to utilize all these skills, yes, it really helps to maintain that willing, awakened mind. And why we need to maintain and protect God, this awakened mind? That's already gone in the chapter number 1, right? He explained very detailed. Zomba tamje gache de teni renji nyona gun. De shinje yondenji gawi deva cheba shas. Dala dirge yongmela paro doyan deva ches. Nibe miga dunga shin paro doyan dunga ches. Now this two stanza can go together, I think, 77 and 78. The goal of every act is happiness itself. The goal of every act is for happiness. When we say happiness itself, it's same for happiness and happiness itself, same meaning? Okay. The goal of every act is happiness itself. Though, even with a great wealth, it's rarely found. In Tibetan word, it's actually Nyenagun. Even with a great wealth, it is rarely to buy. To buy. In Tibetan word, it's buy. You cannot buy this joy by your wealth. No matter how much you have wealth, you cannot buy this joy. This happiness itself, happiness. So, take your pleasure in the excellence of others. Let them be a heartfelt joy to you. So take your pleasure in their excellence of others. In the excellence of others. let them be a heartfelt joy to you. Bodhicharayavatara. No, this is something, let them be a heartfelt joy to you. What do you understand by this? Okay, let me explain this meaning. So, therefore, the quality of others and reflect on their quality and then be a pleasure and joy rather than let them be a heartfelt joy to you. How this connecting this word with the above? Does it connect it?
Yeah.
Why is they saying this to you? Let them be a heartfelt joy to you. There's no let them be a heartfelt joy to you.
Well, it's saying when you see others doing good things, take pleasure out of it. Enjoy the fact that people are doing good things. And allow that to be the joy for you, the joy to you.
Joy for you. It's not for you. It is kind of like you joy. You just experience joy by reflecting on it. That's what Shantideva means. Not let them joy. No.
It's just the terminology of it. It comes across that way. But I understand it as you have explained it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, as do I.
Okay. Okay. Let them be a heartfelt joy to you. This is now something in the saying that okay, in short, that whatever we put effort, tsomba, put effort and do action, purpose is to achieve the happiness, and which is something very difficult and rare, can buy wealth. Therefore, that you should reflect on others' quality and then experience the pleasure, joy. That's what it's saying. Actually, this is one stage now again. I have to make it here. Actually, reflecting and contemplating on quality itself is joy, yes. It is really true. For instance, very obvious way, when you think your capability, then you feel joy, isn't it? Isn't it? When you think your capability is your quality, isn't it? And likewise, also, when you think your son's quality, you also feel joy, isn't it? When you think your daughter's quality, you feel joy. Parents are being so proud when their son or daughter got this mark in this. Why? Because parents just reflecting on their son's mark, their son's quality, which is quality. You see, reflecting on quality and then being with it, the mental itself is joy. But On the other hand, we are dividing that. We are dividing that, which is kind of like when the other than my son get the 100% mark in the exam, reflecting on that quality makes you suffer. That's very mundane now, actually. Now, this is something very opposite advice that Shantideva was giving. You need to understand that reflecting on quality itself is joy, which is so rare and difficult to buy by wealth. And why don't you just reflect on their quality and enjoy? Just like when we reflect on our own qualities, our own capabilities, our own son's mark. This is example. Our own daughter's high mark in a school. And our own son or daughter's graduate from university, from college. How parents, at that moment, within a parent's mind, that joy is something immeasurable, right? Immeasurable. But where does joy come from? Just reflecting on others' quality effect. The parent didn't get any wealth from there. Parent didn't get any materials from there. You see, that's what Shantideva was really saying. Just reflecting on qualities actually itself is happiness. But unfortunate on the other hand that we are unnecessarily dividing there. Oh, this is my side. So if I reflect on my side's person's quality, I feel joy. This is not my side. So therefore, when I reflect on their quality, I feel sad rather than joy. The fact Shantideva what is saying is actually that's not truth. You are making up there. Actually reflecting on quality itself is happiness. Now this is very contradicting with our mundane concept. And able to utilize these skills still helps to maintain this bodhisattva. Can support, can help to protect this bodhisattva as well. Isn't it now a little bit hard to understand this?
Very hard to apply.
Apply. Even understand this now, as I told you. How you will going to understand that reflecting on your enemy's quality and then you feel joy? This is something, yes, very challenging. And then next stanza is, it goes together. By acting thus, in this life, you will lose nothing. It is still true, you see. In future life, great bliss will come to you. If we're really able to apply that above method, you will lose nothing. Yes, actually. You don't have to give anything. You just think their quality, right? You don't, even they don't see that you are thinking their quality, actually. This practice you can do by with the wrathful Feng's expression, actually, too. But you're enjoying their quality. Isn't it? You can do that with the expression scolding. But in mind, I'm thinking Sean's quality. Sean's quality of this bear, how nice this bear, and so on. Just using this bear.
Not only you, Rinpoche, people compliment me when I'm cycling my bike and they say, nice view. You see? So, if I do this, you say, Sean didn't understand that I am reflecting on Sean's quality because of my expression is Sean like this. Maybe Sean is thinking that I am thinking opposite than his qualities. But inside, so you see, that means I'm not losing anything. Right? I'm not giving anything. I'm not sending anything. I'm just reflecting on Sean's beer. There's nothing for me to lose. That's the one thing. And plus, now this, not just not lose, plus, in future lives, great bliss will come to you when you're able to rejoice others' quality, and then that itself becomes action, causes for you to get all those qualities. And when you get all these qualities, and you're happy too. Not this beer quality to the female. I don't think they will going to be happy. Isn't it? Female doesn't want that shown, right? Anyway, this is just example, okay? But you understand what it means. And then on the other side, rather than doing this, if I do other side, opposite, which is like reflecting on others' quality and get mad, okay? Get anger, get jealous. Then wrongdoing brings not joy but pain. Yes, that's very obvious. And not just pain in a present, in a temporary, but that action also becomes causes and conditions for oneself to experience in the future deathful torment. See? Lost situation. I suffer now, and also this what I'm suffering by reflecting on that quality, it's not exhausting this karma by this suffer, but this suffering itself is increasing the karma experience in the future. So very much useless. Don't think now this suffer will helping you to exhaust your karma. No. Here. Shantideva made it clear here. This suffering will not make you exhaust your karma. This suffering will increase your karma for the future. Suffer more. So therefore, Shantideva was saying,
naturally reflecting on others' quality itself is happy. And then our purpose, the goal of every act, it's happiness itself. So why don't you be happy by reflecting on qualities, regardless of beings? If you don't do that, on the other hand, what consequences will going to be is this. So now reflect on this and then try to reduce doing that. Isn't it? Now these are very skillful to maintain this bodhisattva's vow, not to let transgress this bodhisattva's vow. Yes, when we reflect on some stranger's quality, especially enemy, even some stranger's quality, we may get some unhappy feeling. If when you generate this unhappy feeling, it burns this willing to benefit others again, isn't it? So dreadful torment here in the future, itself becomes like a itself is kind of like a hated, right? Hated itself, and out of hated, whatever we act, it becomes cause to born in hell, which we don't want. Nobody wants. So if one doesn't really want to born in hell, don't do just hate, and don't try to act out of hate. Reduce as much as we can hating others and reduce the acting out of hate. Hate it. And then hell is not for you then. Because this is the very cause to be born in hell. Okay, anyway, so we just stop here. So if you have a question, we can discuss. If not, then we dedicate. Yes, Jennifer?
I have a question about praise. In the text, it says we should praise others. I see them doing well, we should praise. But when it comes to ourselves, in our teachings, we're taught to be immune to praise. So if people praise us, we don't care one way or the other. So I'm wondering, why is it good for us to give, but not to receive? Praise.
Give. Okay. So here, okay, so Jennifer, you didn't get it, that one. Oh, I didn't mention that one, maybe. That's my fault too, maybe. This method that which Shantideva gives right after, when you get praise from others, and rather than feeling pride, you reflect on their quality of able to recognizing the quality, right? When I give you praise, you should do that. When I give you praise, praise, you should do that. When you give me praise, I should do that. And then we can praise each other. And we can both be happy at the same time. And we both don't generate pride at the same time as well. Yeah, maybe I didn't make it that clear. Now good?
I think so.
Sometimes that even kind of like some of those teachers, when they praise by somebody, they just don't want to listen. They try to ignore that. Oh, don't say. I think this is just to reduce their pride. But actually, it is also okay for them to do that. Just give a good response and then reflecting on their quality rather than just don't say. This both, I think, purpose is to reduce pride. You will notice that in many times, many teachers, that they will just ignore you when you praise them. They will pretend they didn't see you. Yeah. The purpose is to reduce the pride, because this topic could become condition for them to feel some extraordinary, which is not good, which is not healthy. Therefore, they just pretend not to see you there, or therefore they just ignore you at that moment. But if they are very skillful, they still can do this. What shall they see you? They can do that. No? Look at you and reflect in your quality. Oh, how you wonderful that you recognize that this is what I am doing.
If we praise others, are we helping to fuel their pride?
It could becomes, and it could also becomes for them to encourage, right? They feel something better so they can continue what they're doing it. For instance, this is something in the mundane, it is necessary. When somebody doing something great, it is very good if you are able to support. Support not necessarily only through physical, but through also praising. That could become support too, right? So that persons can feel little courage to do more in the future. To utilize this praise for that purpose, it's okay. To utilize this praise to just use your pride, then not okay. Therefore, this is very tricky. It's very slippery there. Just like these three things which mean it is necessary for protect this body. Yesterday we talked, right? From there, then we slippery so much. Okay, then we dedicate its merit. Sunam de tamje zibani, tomne nibe nanam tamje ne, sheka nanche walan tubayi, sirin zolen doan doarsho, jambal pawe jitara kembana, kundu sambu deyan tejin de, eda kunje jeso daloje, Yewa Deda Namje Radomo, Yewa Ye Shewo, Sanam Yeshe Sozon, Sanam Yeshe Lejon, Tamba Kuni Tabasho, Sanje Kusum Yebe Chinlanda, Chenye Mingur Dembe Chinlanda, Gelin Miche Dembe Chinlanda, Jedamo Melam Jovasho. By this beneficial activity, may I obtain omniscience, and having vanquished the harmful enemy of delusion, may I liberate all beings thrust about helplessly by the waves of birth, aging, illness, and death in the ocean of becoming. By conforming to the knowledge of courageous Manjushri, Jambalyam, and in the same way as Samandabhadra, Kundusambu, and following their example, I dedicate to perfect all his virtue. By the way, being perfectly achieved the accumulations of merit, sonam, and wisdom, yeshi, and may they thereafter obtain two holy bodies which result from these two accumulations. By the blessing of the Buddha, Sangye, who obtained the three bodies, by the blessing of the immutable truth of Dhammata, Chuni, by the blessing of the infallible aspirations of Sangha, Yendi, may this prayer of dedications be accomplished just as it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and have a good day for tonight. And we have Guru Rinpoche talk. See you then.